Yo, what up, what up? Your host B. Riders, my co-host
J. Bell.
And this is Final Thoughts. Today's topic, MLK Was Not Great, Part 2. Let's check it out.
Watch this.
Why did he do that? You know what I mean? Like, why did he? Nah, man.
Something that we must understand with Martin Luther King is that he was used as a pawn against black people. Now, a lot of people will say that this man should be praised, and why you as a black person, why are you tearing another black man down? Let's elaborate. Something that Martin Luther King did in terms of what he did for black people, right, is that he taught black people to be passive. He taught black people to love their enemies and to assimilate and to integrate into places where they weren't wanted. He didn't advise black people to build for themselves or to do for themselves. He advised them to try and get into the ins and outs, the little places that they could be in the confinements of other sets of people. Malcolm X said that any man, any black man at that, who is praised in this society should be looked at, paraphrasing what Malcolm X said. When you have a man such as Martin Luther King who is praised in this society and is given a national holiday in the United States and is given this narrative that he is the reason why we have this quote unquote integrated, which is really just desegregated society, you have to really look at the character of who are we praising.
So we felt like we needed to make this video because we had a little bit of pushback from the last one of MLK Is Not Great, and they had a whole lot of articles and links sent to us telling us why MLK is not great and why we shouldn't agree with what he was saying. We don't have our partners with us, Josh and Lucian. They're not with us this time.
Yeah, but they weren't the ones that were sending the links. It was other people watching the show that were sending the links, and we appreciate it. Trust me.
Definitely.
So we got it. We investigated everything that was sent. You know, we had to vet the information, and that's very much a part of like who we are as podcasters, YouTubers, whatever you want to call us.
Yes.
We have to vet the information. So let's get into the meat of it, right?
I mean, give your meat a good old rub.
So there was the one with Malcolm X.
Right. There was a video sent to us about Malcolm X and how he
and y'all seen it, so
felt about it. We're sure that you guys have seen it. Like this video is him speaking about how he felt about MLK. Right?
Michael.
What is that? What even is that?
Right. So the issue with this is that this is how Malcolm felt about Martin. Right. In an early stage of the civil rights movement. Mm-hmm. So this doesn't take into account how he felt after he met with Martin. And it doesn't take into account
his pilgrimage to Mecca.
After his pilgrimage to Mecca, right? Yeah. So his pilgrimage to Mecca, which is something that really changed his ideals about black and white society. What ends up happening is a lot of people leave that part about Malcolm's journey out of his journey. And that's something that you really shouldn't take away from him, because he felt one way about interactions between black and white people, or colored and white people. And then he went on his journey to Mecca. And then when he came back, he felt a different way.
He felt enlightened.
Yes.
Hallelujah.
He changed the way he felt about it. So to go back and to continue to use his original feelings about this situation is
disingenuous.
Precisely.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. It's disingenuous because you're leaving out how he changed his mind, how he admitted that one way was wrong.
Wrong, sir.
Wrong.
And this way is not. Right?
And you have that, and then you have the part where he was saying that Martin Luther King was funded by white people and stuff like that.
Right.
So
He
let's
said all of that.
let's think about this, right? So let's say you are Martin Luther King or Michael, whatever you prefer.
Whatever.
And you know that you're trying to be the pioneer of the advancement of black people, Negro people in America, whatever you want to call it. So you think that we had the money to come up with
Good guess, but actually no.
travel and food while we're traveling and stuff like that? So let's say a white person came and just was like, hey, I like the fact that you want to liberate black people from white people, and I think this is something that should take place. How can I help? And then Martin is like, well, hey, maybe you can donate $25,000 to us, and that'll help us without our expenses, right? So I think at this point we would call them an ally, but some people think that that's being a puppet, and I'm like, well, that's not the definition of being a puppet. A puppet is someone that's being controlled. Now, it would be different if that person said, I will give you $25,000, but you need to do X, Y, and Z. Whatever that could be. It could be like, well, you shouldn't speak so ill of white people. You shouldn't, do this or do that. Right. And I want you to say this to your people so they cannot do X, Y, and Z. Mm-hmm. Now, that will be being a puppet. Now, if that person has an ulterior motive in using your movement to make them look better, that's one thing. But you can't control that. What you can control is accepting a check that you can use for yourself and the people around you who's willing to march and pay for their expenses and pay for their food, whatever it comes with expenses. Yeah. You can control that directly. And I don't think that's considered being a puppet. And I don't think that's considered even being a failure to your people.
No, not at all. Not at all. I don't understand the connection, because I've seen that a few times from a few people, few different people, saying that, well, Martin was a puppet of the Rothschilds or the Rockefellers or whatnot. And I'm like, but the only issue to me is, was he correct in his beliefs, in his ideals? Was he right?
Yeah.
Was this the main way that we could get to our freedom through white culture? Was this the way that it could happen, right? Regardless of who funded him to do it. Because we could have, like, Black Lives Matter could have a white funder, and we wouldn't say that they are giving up the ghost, or they are a puppet to their regime or anything like that. It's more than just us having the same ideals, right? Because these people might have had the same ideals as Martin. It's more like, are they paying for him to change his message? That's what makes you a puppet.
You're not just wrong, you're stupid.
Right.
So I've seen this a few
that.
times. Like, are you saying something different than what you would normally say?
Yeah.
If you are,
when they
well,
change
then,
the tune, then
right.
you know something's going on.
Now we have something
behind
to talk
the scenes.
about. Right.
Yeah.
But if not, then how does that make you a puppet? Right? Maybe you two people agree on the advancement of colored people at this time. That's possible.
So Martin made people docile. I'm just like, you're not even at that point 13% of the population.
God,
and 13% now is still not a lot of people.
That's so wild to me.
So it's just like, you think that you can go against the majority and just win? Like, this is nonsense.
It's so stupid to me because I'm like, every time I hear people say this, make this argument of, oh, Martin just made black people docile and
turn the
complacent.
other cheek.
I'm like, so what was the other option?
I'm confused. I'm confused right now, G.
Yeah.
What, explain to me what the other option was that would have worked. Please.
You know the crazy part? It's like in turning the other cheek, they still got hosed.
Yes.
They still got dogs attacked.
Yes.
They still went to jail. And this was the polite side of it.
Right.
So imagine the more militant side of it. That would have been death. Completely.
Right.
And this does not make any sense. And I think people come from a place of privilege, even black people.
Absolutely.
Because you never had to go through that. You're coming from a place where you're in a protected society for the most part. You don't have to incur any violence that is undue to you for the most part. You know, there is a small minority of people that die from police and all that kind of stuff like that.
Yes.
But people think that, we would just fight back and we would do this, we would do that. And I'm like, if you lived in that fucking time period.
How about I turn y'all into nigga pie?
So you say about 35.
You will have a different
You
mindset.
would definitely think differently about all of your actions because you
would.
Yeah. You are like, let's say, the man of the house. If they lose you, then what happens in a society where women aren't even that valued? Come on, think about it.
Yeah.
Think about it. What would happen?
Because you would think differently about it.
Yes.
It's very easy for us from a place of privilege to say, well, we should just fight harder. We could have just walled ourselves in and made demands.
Yeah.
Until our demands are met. Are you freaking crazy?
How have you? Oh man.
The life of a black man at that point in time was undervalued from how it is now.
Yeah.
And you think that you're gonna get something for your life at this point in time?
Boy, ain't no way, boy. Boy, ain't no way, boy.
Our only option at that point in time was integration, because Martin knew at that time the only way for us to move forward was for white people to see us as them, was for them to not be able to differentiate. And he was right in that aspect, because us going to war with white people, not gonna work.
It still wouldn't work.
No. Even to this day, it
still
wouldn't work. We don't
would-
have the numbers, we don't have the resources.
We will lose completely.
Yes. That's not gonna work. Separate but equal, which is what I hear a lot of people talking about as well. Well, we could have just been separate from white people and had our own things and build them up and been okay.
But we don't want to work inside a white system.
You're gonna work inside of a white system regardless.
Because where the fuck are we?
Because we're in a freaking America.
Thank you.
Not only that, but where in American soil have you seen traditional white people allow a prosperous black town to exist?
Like, I'm just asking questions here, okay?
Where? Can somebody point that out to me?
I think they're under the water.
How Tulsa with the race riots is gone. Rosewood is gone. Every other black prosperous town is where? Is gone. Is underwater or burned to the ground. Why on earth do you think, for some magical reason, they would let a prosperous black town exist when they never did in the history of our society? Somebody explain that to me.
Help me! Help me!
Why do you think that for some reason we could have been separate from them and greater or as good as them, and they would have let that shit fly when they never did?
We should have fought harder.
We should have fought harder.
With what?
How?
With what resources?
How, Sway?
Take a few steps back to go.
You ain't got the answers, man.
Where, why, how?
With what resources?
Like, this is absolutely crazy to me.
Well,
Like,
Remember, we were talking. I'm like, so let's dig into this. Let's just say current day population, which is obviously not the same as it was back then. Let's go with 13-14%.
No.
We can even go to 20 if we want to be generous, right? So we got to go according to, let's say, half of those are women, right? And then we got to go with not all of these people who could fight are able to fight. There are 7-year-olds, 10-year-olds, yeah.
Where we at now?
Like 13% is all
those who are not willing to fight.
27-year-old men.
Those who are against you, because we all know black people who are like,
Uncle Ruckus.
I ain't with them niggas.
Yeah.
Thank God for the white man's infinite mercy, Martin Luther King.
God damn it.
Yeah.
But so where we at? Like
blacker and darker and all that. Yeah.
Where we at? 4%, 3 or 4%.
Yeah.
Of 13% of the population.
And it got to be the people that agree with you,
right,
on that front. So
this is a losing. This is a losing fight.
Oof.
Right now, this isn't to say that we aren't for the proliferation of black culture, or we don't agree with black empowerment at all.
Of course,
this is to say that there is a practical means by going about our proliferation.
And it's not through war.
It's not through war. It can't
death.
possibly be through war.
That is death. Who is in power in America? White people. Who is in power in politics? White people. How many people make up the fucking military? It's mostly white people. Right. Who gives them authority to do things when they like send the military out? Mostly white people.
He's out of line, but he's right.
Even at that time, who voted the most? Who was able to vote for the most? Was white people. Why would you then at this point in time say, well, we're gonna get a militia of men with guns around our cities
because we
fight against these people? No, this is a losing battle. This is a losing battle.
We just fought.
Right. This is a losing battle. I'm trying to, and we're trying to understand the arguments that are being made, because we've heard good ones. Well, we could have fought harder. That's stupid. No, we couldn't have.
No.
We could not physically. No.
You didn't think that Malcolm X started this too?
Right.
Like,
right.
They the ones had the guns and all that. Like, all right.
Right. We could have fought harder. No, we couldn't have. We could have done segregation. We could have been separate from them, but equal.
Still have to get resources from them.
No, we couldn't have, because separate but equal did not work, and we realized this already. We realized
water fountain
that separate but equal was not a thing, because there was never going to be equal. It was not going to happen.
Yeah.
What are we talking about here? What are we discussing here? That war wasn't going to work. Separate but equal wasn't going to work. What are our options? What are our remaining options?
A place of privilege. I told you that. When people who never been through anything start talking about, oh, we could have, or when I hate this the most, I'm not my ancestors.
Shut your stupid.
Okay, you'd have been dead before your ancestors.
Yeah.
For damn sure.
Because if you didn't acquiesce to your slave master, take a good guess what would have happened to you.
I've had people tell me that before. I couldn't have been a slave. You damn right you couldn't have been a slave.
Because you speaking as a free,
you damn right you couldn't have been a slave. You talking like somebody who wasn't a slave. You would have been, you would have been dead probably before a slave. And if that's your option, then that's fine. Right? But let's not pretend like you're not here because of a slave though.
Right.
You're here because a slave opted not to take your option. Yeah. That's the only reason why you're here. You're here because a slave opted to suffer through slavery. That's why you're here. So why are we even doing this? I don't even understand it myself. Like, somebody got to break it down to me. If we're talking about Martin Luther King being a traitor or a puppet,
yeah,
that doesn't mean that he wasn't correct. Even if he was a puppet, that doesn't mean that he wasn't right. I don't care. I don't care.
I don't care.
That doesn't mean that he was not correct in what he was
in the
saying.
civil rights movement, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, somebody has to show me that he wasn't right in what he was saying. Whether he was a puppet, anything else or not, was he wrong? Show me that.
But what about the article that the guy from UK wrote that alleges that, you know, he laughed at somebody getting raped and all this kind of stuff? It's allegedly, of course.
Yeah.
You know, some people call it facts.
Stop it. Get some help.
A hard alleged, right?
And I'm like, well, if something's alleged, it means it's an accusation, which means it's not a fact, which means that there's still more investigation to be, you know, done.
Right.
But they are calling it facts, right? So what about that? What do you think
me,
about
I'm like,
the whole thing?
I'm not adverse to changing
with the tapes
my mind. I'm not adverse to changing my mind about any of this. I could be absolutely wrong, but you have to present me with information that shows me that I am.
But the tapes aren't going to be sealed until 2027, so we actually have no, you know, actual footage of the tapes right now.
Well, then I guess we gotta wait to 2027.
But it's a fact, though.
Fuck out of here. You gotta bring. If 2027 rolls around and we're able to switch on,
cool.
I'm fine with that. I'm okay with admitting that I'm wrong about this topic here. I'm fine with that. I've been wrong before. It's happened. So I'm okay with that. But until then, until you have actual evidence to show that, Martin Luther King was actually incorrect, this would have been better if we had done it this way other than this way. Like, I'm not really trying to hear it, you know?
Okay. So...
I've been talking my face.
Sorry, final thoughts?
Go ahead. Do your thing. Yeah.
All right. My final thoughts. My final thoughts is that we have to stop this with the whole redefining already defined terms, right? We gotta accept that alleged and fact are two different words. We really have to come to grips with that. Now, do I think that Martin Luther King cheated on his wife? I do. I'll give him that. I do. Do I think it's wrong or right? I think it's wrong.
Me too.
But was he significant in the advancement of the Negro people in America during his time period? Absolutely. Yeah. Was he necessary? Yes. Yes. He was necessary. He needed to happen. Yeah. He was inevitable.
I like you.
But I just want us to not be disingenuous. Get away from all the biases. People are saying so many fugazi things. Like you tell me to do research, I do my research, and I find out that the research leads me to things that are just allegations, right? Now, it could be true. I don't know, but we'd have to wait until we can actually all hear the tapes that's been stored away with the FBI. And it even is more weird when you look into the situation, and I don't want to be long-winded, but it's weird.
Buddy, you're weird.
When you hear that the FBI wiretapped, they just took a specific interest in this man. We just gonna go everywhere he go and wiretap everything and just record everything. Obviously, we know it's for racial reasons. We know because he was trying to advance black people, and the actual FBI did not want that. So it's kind of crazy when you hear the theory that he was trying to keep black people docile. Well, why wouldn't the FBI want that when their leader is J. Edgar Hoover?
Yes.
Who had a vested interest in that wasn't in black people. Go ahead and look it up. You don't have to take me as a, So we dealing with all of that, and then you hear the allegations of him only liking white women, and you think that the FBI gonna sit by while his people raped another white woman. They're wiretapping and listening to this in real time. You think that's what they're gonna do? The bias is strong here, and that's why we're doing this video. Go ahead.
Yes,
what's your final thoughts?
Final thoughts is that this is wild to me. I'm gonna need a lot more than this to change my mind, because I don't see any other avenue for the advancement of black people in this. If you're talking about going to war with white people, we're losing because we don't have the numbers and we don't have the resources. Off top, we're talking about separate but equal. We're losing because we're not getting the resources that white people are getting. We've seen that separate but equal isn't a real thing because it's separate but it's not equal. Black people always get the short hand of the stick, so that's not a thing. If we're talking about, oh, black people should be separate and we should build up our own communities and make them stronger and better, and that way we'll be okay, we're still losing because white people aren't going to allow that. They didn't allow that then. We've seen it already from the Tulsa race riots to everywhere else. Whenever black people prosper, they destroy it. They destroy it completely. So why on earth would this be the exception? Would for some reason, if black people, we would segregate ourselves and we make ourselves better in the 60s and 70s, it's going to be okay. When it has never been okay in the past. Never. Can you point to a black city that has existed before the civil rights movement that was prosperous that still exists today? Can anyone point to that? Can anyone point out that city, that province in town that still exists to this day, that existed before then, that is still prosperous? If you can, then I will concede the argument to you. If you can't, then you need to shut the fuck up, because this is not even arguable at this point.
That boy is good.
They're not gonna let this happen. So for you to pretend that, well, if we were separate, we would just progress and it would be okay, when they never let it be okay, is stupid. So explain to me why this is rational, please, because I don't see it. But I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. It may happen again. I don't know. But that's just my take of it. But the whole reason why we made this video is because we got a little bit of pushback on the last MLK video.
Really, nigga?
We got a little pushback on the last MLK video. And I don't see how we're wrong as of right now. Maybe we will be. Maybe it will be proven wrong. I don't see it though. Because as we went through everything already before, if we're talking about segregation, we get the short end of the stick. If we're talking about separate but equal, we get the short end of the stick. They're not going to let this happen. If we're talking about building up our communities to be on their level or above their level, they're not going to let that happen.
Of course not.
So what other option do we have but integration? But having them see us as them.
Are we just soft now?
Maybe we are.
We just acquiesce to, white people. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that would be like a question. Well, why are you just laying down for them?
Maybe we just saw
like, well, all of the points that he just said kind of make sense when you don't have the majority of the people. I mean, if we're 13% of the population, half of them is a little bit more than half is women, and then you got children and old people. It's like, then you have to have the remaining the people to agree with what we're trying to do. And you think that's really gonna in Trump's America? Because I still think it's Trump's America.
Oh yeah.
Good luck believing that bullshit.
We had 2% of us fighting these fights.
Yeah. And then you gotta realize that at some way down the line, somebody gonna lose. People gonna lose the wherewithal. Like they're not gonna want to continue. So they're not gonna see it in.
Yes, yes.
It is.
And
Why go through that? Why do that?
Well, we heard arguments of what we could be like the Native Americans who have reservations.
Yeah,
and
okay.
Have their police and have their, sheriffs.
Who they pay taxes to?
I think it's white people.
You think?
I'm pretty goddamn sure it's white
damn
people.
straight.
Damn straight.
They almost they was about to build a pipeline through reservations if it wasn't
Because
for everybody.
they could.
Because they could fucking do it. Even if we have our own land, it's still not our land. We still have to negotiate and go through the government to do it. There's no reason to believe that integration was outside of the realm of thought. Like, this was the reason that this was something that we did is because this was the most viable option on the table. Whether you think that Martin Luther King was a puppet or not.
Yeah. This was Final Thoughts Overtime. We don't usually,
Yo, the sign is real simple, B. It says wrap it up. Wrap that shit up, B.
It was a lot.
But it was something that strikes close to home. We're passionate about it. We're obviously two black men, and we live in America. So we thought it would be prudent for us to make a video like this in case people in the future who look at the first video, they have a second video too.
Yeah. So, and this is we could be completely wrong about this. If you have information that we don't have,
please comment.
Let us
send
know.
it to us. Comment.
Let us know. Please
send us links.
We don't have any problem with changing our minds about this, and it been never.
Yeah, completely open-minded.
Right. If you don't have any new information, maybe you should probably shut the fuck up about it.
That's some cold shit.
I don't know.
Probably should. But before we end this, I want to say shout outs to Rob the Second. Is it Rob Samuels the Second?
Rob Samuels the Second. That's what it is. Rob Samuels
he's been following us for quite some time. He comments, he likes, he subscribed, and I just wanted to, show appreciation to you, brother.
Definitely.
Appreciate you.
We see you. We notice you.
Yes.
We love you, brother. Appreciate you. But thank y'all for listening to our ramblings once again. We went a little long this time, but
yeah.
Had some things to get
It's
on.
necessary.
Hey, y'all like, comment, subscribe, please. Let us know. But I'm your host, B. Ryder, co-host
J. Bell.
and this has been
Final Thoughts.